today I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Campbell here himself. We don't know each other. This is the very first time I've met this gentleman. Thank you for being on the show. And why don't you start off with telling everybody who you are and what it is that you do, brother?
Thanks a lot, Jebel. I appreciate the opportunity. I have a background as a physical therapist, but I really teach around stress. I teach breathwork as the primary modality of self-regulation and self-reliance. And what I mean by that is instead of people learning to manage stress or avoid stress, we're looking at the problem the wrong way. We need to increase our capacity to deal with stress. And we can do that by actually teaching the body that stress isn't a bad thing. And so I teach a number of different modalities around teaching people how their nervous system works, their physiology, their biomechanics, right? How to drive this thing that we're all in that no one got to use a manual for.
Okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. So you as the CEO, as the person who's running this business, what's your issue, man? Like what do we want to solve today?
I think it comes down to two things. It's one, kind of client acquisition, or just getting in front of the right people with the right message. I find, even like the word stress, I work with so many CEOs that I'm not stressed, but they sleep like shit. They've got emotional reactivity. They can't regulate their energy. Like, that's stress. You just don't call it stress. So getting in front of people and having the understanding of what I do, helps them with the problems that they face day to day, even if they use a different word. And then I guess the second aspect is really, number of clients, in terms of coming in where I can get on a sales call and I can, turn into a client. That acquisition side and just numbers and volume.
Okay, cool. So because you're not just starting out, right? Based upon your form that you're not just starting out. How are you currently going about finding people and getting them into your world now? Like, what's that process like? What do you guys have in place now? And why not just keep doing that, I guess?
Yeah, so main thing is kind of outbound on Instagram. Instagram's my big funnel. I've been kind of growing that, and it's effective. Most of my clientele, honestly, is word of mouth. Like 70% of my clientele come from a previous client, and I find that that's all the referral I need is like, oh, I had this problem and he helped fix it. You've got the same problem. He can probably help you. The thing with Instagram, kind of like outbound messaging, is it takes a lot of my time. I'd rather spend time creating courses, working with clients, doing the back-end deliverables rather than sitting there and messaging 100 people a day, being like, hey, this is what I do, starting the conversation.
Okay. Do you know, it sounds like you're hitting a bottleneck right now with like just your personal output. So like the easiest thing, and maybe other people right now, is like, oh, why don't you just get a team? So do you have an outbound team that does that? Like, what's going on there? Why not just tell them, hey, kick it in gear, we need more people?
So I've just started that in the last kind of like 2-3 months, working with outbound appointment setters. I'm just still feel like there's something in me that tells me there's somewhat of a better way and that I haven't cracked the code, because even with the additional 3-4 appointment setters, the quality of the inbound leads that are getting onto a call with me, I still just find I'm like, this isn't really the right person. And maybe that's education on my end of, working with the appointment setters is like, this is exactly who we're looking for. But I also just feel, like the CEO on Facebook isn't putting up the fact that he's stressed, right? He's hiding that because that's really not the front that he's wanting to put out there. So I think a lot of people have this resistance as to like, oh, I don't need help because, I've got it all under control. When really a lot of the people I work with, financial success is really high, but health, is probably taking a beating because they've been working the 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. They're not present at home with their family. Like, they're stuck in that work mode. And what I'm trying to teach is like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can be financially successful and you can be healthy as well.
Okay, cool. So I got it. So that's why we're not just going to rely only on outbound Instagram. Totally understand. So the first thing I'd say is step number 1, write out the problems you solve, right? So all the problems that you solve, right? Or you can even look at it this way, all the problems that breath work, right? The practice and art of using breath work. Just write down all the problems it can solve, right? So write that down first. That's the first step. Just grab a sheet of paper, you write all those down. Then, under there, take each problem and write down a list of symptoms for each one of the problems, right? And remember, the symptoms, just how this problem shows up in everyday life. Then, after I write down the symptoms, I would ask myself, and I would write down, Write down a list of people who have the most to lose with having this problem. That's the next one. Now, here's what I mean by that. I want to be like, we talked about people are always, they're more motivated. Humans are more motivated to remove themselves from some pain than to move towards pleasure. So what I mean by that is, for instance, after I bootstrapped my gym to $500,000 and sold it, we started helping other people in the fitness industry. And I ended up starting a digital marketing agency. This was years back, like 2014, 2015, something like that. Maybe 2016. And I started a digital marketing agency for in the fitness space. And initially we wanted to help everybody, right? But I started asking myself this exact question of who has the most to lose with this problem. And we made a conscious decision to not advertise or speak to fitness trainers and fitness coaches. We wanted specifically gym owners. And the reason was because a gym owner, if you were a gym owner, you had the most to lose because you had to sign a lease, right? That means you PG'd it because it's very hard for you to get a lease, a commercial lease without personal guaranteeing it, which means that your house, your car, something's on the line, right? You have, so that rent is coming out every month. You need the light bill, it's like it's funny, like these trainers would come, it's like, oh, I need some more clients. It's like, you don't even know what the definition. Like I remember, it's like, dude, like rent by itself is $5,000. Like I need $5,000 just to stay in this building. Like, it's like employees. Okay, well we got these clients, but I can't service them all. And we got their families, so they had more to lose in this scenario. So the people who have more to lose, the reason I always want to think specifically about their situations and how it's showing up for them, it allowed us to get much more powerful marketing, but it also helps the sales process later. And this isn't even about the sales conversion piece, right? But it made sales so much easier because people are always willing to pay more for what they see are willing to pay more for something that they see as more valuable. Well, what makes it more valuable and what we do as entrepreneurs is the bigger the problem I can solve for you. The more this problem is affecting your everyday life, the more you have at risk to lose by this problem continuing makes it easier when it's like, dude, all I have to do to stop experiencing this, like what's the price point of feeling like you let down your spouse? You know what I mean? Like $5K, like for that person, that scenario is like, dude, $5K and like to get her to stop crying and get her to finally understand, like, no, I'm not cheating on you. No, it's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Like those things that, what's the price? Like, think about that. Like I'm married, you're coming into the house of hell. Like if your wife thinks that, you know what I'm saying? Like there is no peace for you. There's no escape. And for them not to be able to communicate it and to have something where I work with you and I have this tool that I can use that help, like, I have more to lose. My kids. Okay, what if she doesn't believe me and so we separate? Now I'm not seeing my kids. You see what I'm saying? There's more to it. And it's like, oh, dude, 5K, 8K, 10K, all of a sudden becomes easier because of the symptom that I'm speaking to in general. I didn't just say, I hope you feel less stressed. Right? Because, for instance, I'm sure there's things that you could show me and things that would help me in areas of my life, and I don't resonate with being stressed at all. Stress is not a thing to me, right? Like there's just stuff that happens, and I deal with it because that's what I'm supposed to do, and then we just keep moving on, right? And there's so many people who are in that area where it's like, dude, they need you, but they need you to speak to, because they don't even realize, oh, this thing right here, I don't call that stress. That is stress. When I do X, Y, and Z, I didn't realize that was stress. So that's the first step. After we write down who has the most to lose with this problem, then I would ask, what are their current beliefs, right? Specifically, what are they currently believing about themselves? What are they currently believing about their situation? And what are they currently believing about the potential solutions? Those are like bonuses. If you can get an idea, and you're never going to hit it pinpoint, right? Some of this is just kind of like your gut feeling and testing, but you've also been doing this for a little while, right? So some of it's just going to come from you sitting down and thinking about specific clients too. But like, Because the reality is, these people are believing the opposite most times of what you're believing. Right? Like, for instance, maybe, I said, stress is not really a thing to me in the fact that, like, where I'm like, stuff just happens. And, yeah, it may be unfortunate, and I just deal with it. Okay, maybe that's my belief. You have a separate belief, and you have to start communicating that belief. You need to show in your content that even that right there, and what I'm believing about that, there's this other side to the coin. You have to do that in your content, because that's going to start bringing more of those people where they're going to start thinking like, man, maybe he's right. I didn't even think about it like that before. And it's going to start pulling these people back to you, right? So that's like a bonus there. And once you've done those steps, the second thing we're going to do is we're going to use that to write out your new symptomatic elevator pitch. Right? And a symptomatic elevator pitch is simply, I just want it to be like this one-liner. And I'll pause because a lot of times people will ask me, they say, hey, they're like, well, I don't want to narrow who I work with. The cool thing about speaking symptomatically is I don't narrow who I work with at all, because I can always just pick I just keep putting out symptoms, right? So one piece of content, I'm not going to resonate with that symptom at all. But I didn't say this is what I do, X, Y, and Z. So I didn't write you off. I'm just like, that symptom doesn't relate to me, right? But then another symptom may hit it on the head for me. So I'm not limiting who I speak to, but what you're going to realize is the Pareto principle, right? 80-20, right? There's like 20% of these symptoms. So like out of 10 symptoms, there's 2 of them who are going to bring you 80% of your clients. Those are the 2 that you need to focus on, majority of your content on, and create your elevator pitch around, right? And that's what can go in your bio, and that's the thing that you're going to repeat in all of your content, right? Let's say you're creating this content about X, Y, and Z symptom, and that's the one that you're going to keep repeating in there, right? And then what I would do from there, now that you have that out, is obviously start creating content, right? Just start creating it consistently. Don't worry about the likes and things like that. I would start tracking shares and saves. Saves are going to be how you know you're hitting it. And what you're going to do is, let's say, because we're going to map out this 30-day plan. So what I would do is for 30 days, I would commit to posting, in this case, we got 4 weeks, so I'd commit to 30 days of posting. I would commit to 1 symptomatic piece of content a day. Right? So let's say you're big on Instagram right now, so you're going to do video, right? You're going to do a reel. But I would also take that video and I'd make it an email. I'd make it a Facebook post, right? So put it in different mediums for people to consume the same piece of content. And I would post 1 a day. And now I'll say this. You're going to get people to reach out to you during this 30 days. That's cool. But the purpose of this exercise is not necessary to get people to reach out. I know that sounds counterintuitive. What I'm trying to see is at the end of 30 days, which piece of content has the most saves and the most shares. Not the most likes or comments, the most saves and shares. Because that's what's going to tell me what really resonated with people. And I'm going to take that piece of content, right? So 1 a day. At the end of 30 days, I'm going to look at all the metrics. I'm looking for the most saves and the most shares. The one that has the most, I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to start running it as an ad. Right? And the ad strategy I would put behind it, you don't have to spend tons. All you would do is I'd go, because Facebook will allow you to run ads to people who engage with your Instagram. Meaning anyone who, yes, follows you, but anyone who maybe doesn't follow you but saved your content, shared your content, is watching a certain amount of it, right? Someone who's DM'd you, send it, any of those things. It'll create a specific audience of people. And you can actually make it for the last year, but I would do it specifically for the last 30 days, right? It's not going to be that large, but let's say even there was 10,000 people, right? If there's 10,000 people in that audience, that's only going to cost you a couple bucks to reach them every single day. So I create an audience of people who engage with my Instagram, and now I'm going to take that piece of content and I'm going to pay to have it consistently show up in their news feed. You could set it at $1 a day, but I'd probably say at least $5 a day is going to be a little bit better, right? And the reason this is important, a lot of times people think they always need to go find new people. But the reality is, let's say I only have 1,000 people who follow me on Facebook. When I post, the reality is only 10% max are probably going to see that piece of content from me. And we make the mistake a lot of times of putting out content, and we're like, oh man, it didn't do well. And the reality is most of our people just didn't even see it, right? And so I want to get it out to everybody who is following me. And I also want to get it out to the people who are following me who did see it and remind them. I want to pay to have that content continually show up and do the work for me because it's a good piece of content based upon my engagement records. So why not spend a couple bucks to have that keep sending people back to me, right? That's like a very simple paid strategy I'd put behind it. And after I start seeing some metrics on that, then I take that same piece of content and I would go broader, right? So people who don't already engage with me, for instance, and I would start just targeting those general entrepreneurs and things like that. But now I'm not really gambling. I know that this piece of content resonates because it's brought me people over the last 30 days. And I know it's hitting because people are saving and sharing it. And that would be my strategy for it, for the paid ad side.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, actually. Otherwise, I've toyed with Facebook ads, but it's really been a swing in the dark. Mm-hmm. It's just like, is this the right content, or is this the right audience, or is this the right, so this is a lot more specific because you got.
And so here's, this is low cost. Everybody can do this. I forgot to say this, right? So back to your Instagram outbound team, right? Because I don't want to change your strategy, for instance, right? We could talk about a million different strategies, but keeping this all in your same strategy, if you start doing this, here's what's cool about this. On the ad that I run, even to cold traffic to people who don't know me, people are saying, well, are you creating a landing page? Are you doing any of that? No, I would just the video. Let's say it's the Instagram reel. Just the Instagram reel. Exactly how I posted it. That's all that's being sent out. Because what's going to happen is people are going to start watching that video. And Facebook allows me to do something really cool. Let's say this video is a minute long. I can create an audience of people who have watched anywhere from 3 seconds of this video all the way to people who have watched 100% of the video. Right? Well, let's say it's a minute long. If you watch 50% of the video, you resonate with it. There's no way you watch 30 seconds of that reel talking about this very specific symptom. This is why we're doing that, right? This very specific symptom, and you don't resonate with it. So now, when I start spending $5 a day to cold traffic, people are going to see the Instagram reel. Most people are not even going to watch it. That's totally cool. But the people who do watch 50% of it, I can create another audience. It's going to be much smaller. Let's say it's only 5,000 people. Totally fine. These are 5,000 people who resonate with this, right? And what I would do with this audience is then I would create a separate ad, and it can be a call to action, right? And the call to action can be to simply just DM you guys. How you do this is completely up to you. It's whatever resonates with you. But let's say, for instance, you like video, so you get on video and you say, hey, and you could be as a candid about this as you want, but maybe I get up there and I say, hey, look, so you're seeing this video right now because you resonate with, and I'd re-put the symptom, right? Because, right, you know a little about it, or maybe you're struggling with, maybe you're dealing with, or maybe you're confused about, you're frustrated about whatever. Maybe you're frustrated about X, Y, and Z. And I have a way to solve it. And I don't, we don't want to get into things here, but I'd really like to have a conversation with you. We've actually helped X, Y, and Z people, just like you, stop this thing from happening, stop from bumping their head every morning when they wake up. And you don't have to do this. Remember, we talked about the beliefs. What are they believing? Maybe they believe all these things that are false. It is not going to take this. It's not going to take this. You don't have to do this. As a matter of fact, we have a simple strategy that we use that doesn't result. That doesn't. You're not. Maybe the person's biggest fear is I don't want to tell somebody else that I'm feeling this way. You're not going to have to tell anybody. It's something that you can do every single day. That only takes 15 minutes a day. That'll over 21 days will help you X, Y, and Z. I don't know, right? If that sounds interesting to you and you want more of the details, just DM me X, Y, and Z. I'll send you a voice note back and we can talk about what that looks like. And the call to action is just a DM, right? Remember, people say, we can't write an ad that specific. Yeah, I can because this ad's not going out to everybody. Remember I started with this piece of content people engage with, so it's my best piece. Then I'm sending it to people engaged and cold traffic, and then I'm creating a separate audience of people who watch 50%, for instance, of this 1-minute video. You watch 30 seconds of that video of that specific, you resonate with it or know someone who does. So now I can talk to you that specific, and those people are going to go right into your DMs. Those people who like, those people who comment, those people who like share on that piece of content, you guys can cold outreach and be like, hey, and whatever offer and frame you're using is going to start converting even higher. So that's the strategy I use.
Love it, man. I'm going to put it into play.
It. Yeah. Is that helpful?
Definitely.
Any questions on any of that? I know it was a lot.
Honestly, not really. You laid it out like very simple to understand and like what actionable steps first. So do the 30 days, find the content that resonates. And then there's step-by-step filter down into it makes a lot of sense when you get to the end step, but without the prior 10 steps, then it's like, yeah, it is ultra specific,
right.
But you can get ultra specific because you've done the data, you got the data.
Sweet. So that's it, man. That's the plan. That's what I do for the next 30 days. We'd love to have you back on, check in with you maybe end of September, see how the play's been executing, see what your results are. Like I said, hopefully that serves you. For all of you guys watching as well, if you're wondering, if you're like, man, that was absolutely amazing. How can I get more? How can I get this done for business? There's 3 ways we work with people in their business. We would love to have you on the show. So if you go to thehotseat.show, the link will be below in the description. You can sign up and apply to be on the show. It's completely free, right? That's one way. And you can come on here and I will solve your business biggest roadblock. The second way is I have a mentorship that I put together for entrepreneurs. It's $299 a month. That's it. No contract. It's $299 a month. All you do in this mentorship is you join the mentorship. You get direct access to me via Telegram. And once a month, I hold a live Zoom workshop where I teach a strategy that I've used for either myself or my students or my clients' businesses over the last 11 years, and I teach you the strategy over on Zoom. I answer all of your questions about it, and I give you the recordings to it. And when you join, you get access to all the previous trainings that we've done. It's $299 a month. And then the third way is if you're doing above $10,000, so usually about that $15,000 a month mark, and you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're an agency owner, and you'd love to get to 100K months plus, I'd love to have you apply to be one of our partner companies where it costs no money. We partner up. You get to use my 6-figure day sales system. We copy and paste it into your business, and you pay me out of the profits. Those are the 3 ways to work with me. Regardless of whether you take any of those or not, please keep watching this show. I truly believe it's going to become one of the biggest libraries for actionable business content that will take your business to the next level.
Well, I appreciate your time, Elijah. Thanks
Absolutely, brother. Anytime. And I will see you guys on the next episode.